The Devotion of Enrique, Part 1, from Selected Stories by Bret Hart. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The present recording is by Raju, ramina45@hotmail.com. The Devotion of Enrique by Bret Hart, Part 1. In another chronicle which dealt with the exploits of Shushu, a Californian Mustang, I gave some space to the accomplishments of Enriquez Saltillo, who assisted me in training her and who was also brother of Consuelo Saltillo, the young lady to whom I had freely given both the Mustang and my youthful affections. I consider it a proof of the superiority of masculine friendship that neither the subsequent desertion of the Mustang nor that of the young lady ever made the slightest difference to Enrique or me in our exalted amity. To a wondering doubt as to what I ever could possibly have seen in his sister to admire, he joined a tolerant skepticism of the whole sex. This he was wont to express in the marvelous combination of Spanish precision and California slang, for which he was justly famous. As to these women and their little game, he would say, "Believe me, my friend, your old uncle Henry is not in it. No, he will ever take a back seat when Loaf is around. For why? Regard me here. If she is a horse, you shall say, she will buck jump. She will eschide, she will not arrive, or she will arrive too quick. But if it is these women, where are you? For when you shall say, she will eschide, look you, she will walk straight, or she will remain tranquil when you think she buck jump, or else she will arrive, and look you, you will not. You shall get left. It is ever so. My father and the brother of my father have both made court to my mother when she was but a senorita. My father thinks she have loved his mother more. So he said to her, 'It is enough. Tranquilize yourself. I will go. I will efface myself. Adios. Shake hands. Tata. So long. See you again in the fall.' And what make my mother? Regard me. She married my father on the instant. Of these women, believe me, Pancho, you shall know nothing, not even if they shall make you the son of your father or his nephew." I have recalled this characteristic speech to show the general tendency of Enrique's convictions of the opening of this little story. It is only fair to say, however, that his usual attitude toward the sex he so cheerfully maligned exhibited little apprehension or caution in dealing with them. Among the frivolous and light-minded intermixture of his race, he moved with great freedom and popularity. He danced well. When we went to fandangos together, his agility and audacity of his figures always procured him the prettiest partners. His professed sentiments, I presume, shielding him from subsequent jealousies, heart-burnings, or envy. I have a vivid recollection of him in the mysteries of the semiquaqua, a somewhat corybantic dance, which left much to the invention of the performers and very little to the imagination of the spectator. In one of the figures, a gaudy handkerchief waved more or less gracefully by dancer and danseuse before the dazzled eyes of each other acted as a love signal and was used to express alternate admiration and indifference, shyness and audacity, fear and transport, coyness and coquetry as the dance proceeded. I need not say that Enrique's pantomimic illustration of these emotions was peculiarly extravagant, but it was always performed and accepted with a gravity that was an essential feature of the dance. At such times, sighs would escape him which were supposed to portray the incipient stages of passion, snorts of jealousy burst from him at the suggestion of a rival. He was overtaken by a sort of Saint Vitus dance that expressed his timidity in making the first advances of affection. The scorn of his lady love struck with him with something like a dumb awe, and a single gesture of invitation from her produced marked delirium. All this was very like Enrique, but on the particular occasion to which I refer, I think no one was prepared to see him begin the figure with the waving of 4 handkerchiefs. Yet this he did, pirouetting, capering, brandishing his silken signals like a ballerina's scarf in the languishment or fire of passion, until in a final figure, where the conquered and submitting fair one usually sinks into the arms of her partner, need it be said that ingenious Enrique was found in the center of the floor supporting 4 of the dancers. Yet he was by no means unduly excited either by the plaudits of the crowd or by his evident success with the fair. "Ah, believe me, it's nothing," he said quietly, rolling a fresh cigarette as he leaned against the doorway. Possibly I shall have to offer the chocolate or the wine to these girls, or make them a promenade in the moonlight on the veranda. It is ever so, unless, my friend, he said, suddenly turning toward me in an excess of chivalrous self-abnegation, unless you shall yourself take my place. Behold, I gift them to you. I vamos, I vanish, I make track, I skedaddle. I think he would have carried his extravagance to the point of summoning his 4 gypsy witches of partners and committing them to my care, if the crowd had not at that moment parted before the remaining dancers and left one of the onlookers, a tall, slender girl, calmly surveying them through gold-rimmed eyeglasses in complete critical absorption. I stared in amazement and consternation, for I recognized in the fair stranger Miss Urania Mannersley, the Congregational minister's niece. Everybody knew Rainey Mannersley throughout the length and breadth of the Encinal. She was at once the envy and the good of the daughters of those southwestern and eastern immigrants who had settled in the valley. She was correct, she was critical, she was faultless and observant. She was proper yet independent. She was highly educated. She was suspected of knowing Latin and Greek. She even spelled correctly. She could wither the plainest field nosegay in the hands of other girls by giving the flowers their botanical names. She never said, "Ain't you?" but "Aren't you?" She looked upon "Did I which?" as an incomplete and imperfect form of "What did I do?" She quoted from Browning and Tennyson and was believed to have read them. She was from Boston. What could she possibly be doing at a free and easy fandango? Even if these facts were not already familiar to everyone there, her outward appearance would have attracted attention. Contrasted with the gorgeous red, black, and yellow skirts of the dancers, her plain, tightly fitting gown and hat, all of one delicate grey, were sufficiently notable in themselves, even had they not seemed, like the girl herself, a kind of quiet protest to the glaring flounces before her. Her small straight waist and flat back brought into greater relief the corsetless, waistless, swaying figures of the Mexican girls, and her long, slim, well-booted feet, peeping from the stiff white edges of her short skirt, made their broad, low-quartered slippers, held on by the big toe, appear more preposterous than ever. Suddenly she seemed to realize that she was standing there alone, but without fear or embarrassment. As she drew back a little, glancing carelessly behind her as if missing some previous companion, and then her eyes fell upon mine, she smiled an easy recognition. Then a moment later her glance rested more curiously upon Enriquez, who was still by my side. I disengaged myself and instantly joined her, particularly as I noticed that a few of the other bystanders were beginning to stare at her with little reserve. "Isn't it the most extraordinary thing you ever saw?" she said quietly. Then, presently noticing the look of embarrassment on my face, she went on more by way of conversation than of explanation. "I just left Uncle making a call on a parishioner next door, and was going home with Jocasta, a peon servant of her uncle's, when I heard the music and dropped in. I don't know what has become of her," she added, glancing round the room again. "She seemed perfectly wild when she saw that creature over there bounding about with his handkerchiefs. You were speaking to him just now. Do tell me, is he real?" "I should think there was little doubt of that," I said with a vague laugh. "You know what I mean," she said simply. "Is he quite sane? Does he do that because he likes it, or is he paid for it?" This was too much. I pointed out, somewhat hurriedly, that he was a scion of one of the oldest Castilian families, that the performance was a national gypsy dance, which he had joined in as a patriot and a patron, and that he was my dearest friend. At the same time, I was conscious that I wished she hadn't seen his last performance. "You don't mean to say that all that he did was in the dance?" she said. "I don't believe it. It was only like him." As I hesitated over this palpable truth, she went on, "I do wish he would do it again. Don't you think you could make him?" "Perhaps he might if you asked him," I said a little maliciously. "Of course I shouldn't do that," she returned quietly. "All the same, I do believe he is really going to do it, or something else. Do look." I looked, and to my horror saw that Enriquez, possibly incited by the delicate gold eyeglasses of Miss Mannersley, had divested himself of his coat and was winding the four handkerchiefs tied together